Welcome to Get Over It, the Consciousness Transforming Podcast for exceptional 21st century living. Folks, we are presenting our Halloween show today, and we're speaking with Barbara Bandel, and we're talking about her new book, My Most Memorable Psychic Readings and Personal Stories, plus exercises and meditations to expand and deepen your awareness. So not only will you learn about this wonderful woman's story, you will also receive some instruction on how to increase your awareness. And if this is something that you're drawn to, the information shared in her book will help you achieve your goal. Now, the information shared on Get Over It uses intuitive and pragmatic insight to help you shift your consciousness to break through the blocks and release energy that is no longer needed. Yes, we're going to help you let go of the BS that's been holding you back. But you guys know I always ask, are you truly ready to? And by the way, folks, BS is belief system. A bit about me for my new listeners, intuitive since birth. I'm a third generation intuitive with over 3 decades of experience supporting people to break through the blocks along their path. I'm a strategist for personal and professional transformation, revealing cutting edge information that enables you to prosper and thrive. I spent 25 successful years in corporate America as an executive sales professional, and I'm the founder of Healing Visions Ministries and the Northern California Children's Education Network, a 501c3 nonprofit. I provide consultations and healings in all areas of life that heal the mind, body, spirit connection, allowing you to live your very best life. Now, my clients tell me that I keep it real while providing them with accurate information to assist them along their journey as a spirit living a human existence. But they also say, if you really don't want to know, don't ask Monique. My background includes a doctorate in metaphysics, Reiki master teacher, ordained minister, and clinical hypnotherapist. So whether you are stressed, depressed, or possessed, I can help. To find out more about me and my services, go to my website, and that's moniquechapman.com. And I invite you to like and follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn. My guest today, Barbara Bandel. At the age of 7, she discovered she was psychic and she saw things and felt things and heard things and not other people did. And she was a little bit confused by this, but she grew through it. And with the corporation of her spirit guides and love and trust and respect, she has grown into the fantastic, nationally acclaimed, internationally acclaimed medium, I should say, that she is today. She uses her guides to share their knowledge, and she will share exercises and meditations with us. And you can check her out at her website, and that is barbarathemedium.com. Barbara the Medium, all one word.com. Welcome, Barbara.
Welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me. And you work from your heart, and we are two power women.
Oh, yes, we are. Boy, we were together. Woo!
Yes.
Physically in the same place. We could make some things change drastically. I really feel your energy, and I really love it. And folks, she's talking to me today from Amsterdam. So, we can feel the energy between California and Amsterdam. If we can, you can too. And we're going to delve more into that. But, Barbara, I want to start out with you sharing a bit of your story. You said at age 7, that was a great epiphany for you. And, you woke up, so to speak. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, before I got evidence that I was psychic, I thought everyone was psychic until I had to go to a police station with my best friend at age 7. And we experienced the day before a nasty man who tried to lure us in his car. So at the police station the next day, we had to look at photos to see if we would recognize the man. And I didn't know that when I focus, that I get all sorts of information about someone, their energy, what kind of person he or she is. I had no clue. And I was really focused because I didn't want to point out the wrong man.
Right.
And then I started to feel the energy of the men on the photo, because they were all child abusers. And I'd never experienced such a toxic, dark, evil energy in my life ever. So I tried to act normal to the police officer because I didn't understand what was going on in my body. I had a panic attack, but what did I know? I began to hyperventilate. I thought I was dying. So he let me go, and outside I met my friend, and I asked her if she felt the same things and saw the same things. She said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And that's when I discovered that not everyone is the same. And that was quite a shock, and it made me feel really lonely and crazy and a freak. So that was my start of the journey. Yes.
Did your other friends outside of the one you went to the police station with also notice a difference in you?
Well, I'm very introvert, and I didn't have friends except the one. So I was always a bit quiet, shy. So I don't think anyone noticed a big difference in me.
Okay. Well, as those friends didn't notice, you definitely took notice and you were growing through everything. Now, for you, what is the significance of 7?
I like the number 7. I think it's a holy number. It's my lucky number. And it's also about the Saturn return, like 7, 14, 21, 28. Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. Now, what's your life path number? Do you know?
I think it's 9.
Okay, interesting, because my number is 5. When I first discovered everything, and my life path is 5. So I was wondering if yours would be, the same. So it's
I
always interesting.
understand.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
interesting to see how that works
Okay.
out. Now, how do you, as an adult and working in this world of energy, how do you recognize signs from the non-physical?
I have to suddenly look at something. That's how I recognize. And then I see, for example, on my watch, on the clock, 11:11, or I suddenly have to look to the right and I see that one of my candles just went out. Not because it's the end of the candle, but just someone blew it out. Yeah, so I'm really aware when I suddenly have to look another direction. It's like, okay, what do you want to show me? And of course, other signs can be really physical, like I feel a hand on my head stroking my hair, or I feel a warmth on one part of my body, or I smell for a nanosecond, I smell something that reminds me of my mother or my grandmother.
So it sounds like you're well versed in all of the clairs.
Yeah, for me, it started with seeing and feeling. And then later on, the hearing also became very strong, so that I heard names and complete sentences. So I think when we develop this, It's like a domino effect. When you can do one thing, all other senses will develop as well.
Mm.
Did you experience the same?
Um, I think so. In my family, we were always open to this type of energy, so it didn't seem different to me on any level. In the family, but outside the family, boy, things were weird. I remember going
Yeah.
to school and telling kids what was going to happen, and when it came true, I got in trouble because I was scaring people, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh
it's
gosh.
always
Yeah.
it's always something to, you know, learn how to manage the energy, you know.
Yes. And also
Okay.
in our enthusiasm, when we can help people, sometimes, or I'm going to speak for myself, but sometimes when I
Mm,
was younger, I crossed a boundary, but I did it with good intentions and not to hurt or scare anyone. But it
mm,
can be really scary
mhm.
for the other person.
Yeah. Well, talking about what can be scary for some people, Halloween is coming up, and that's the time when the veil is very thin
Yeah.
between the worlds. And, we do trick or treating, and you go down the street and you see ghosts and goblins and witches and whatever. But all of that can be very, very real. So, what would you say to someone who really wants to connect with the other side during this time of the thin veil?
I would begin with protecting yourself, and you can do it then in numerous ways. I always put um, like a ball around me in white or in blue, or doesn't matter what color. It goes all around me. Then silver that reflects unwanted energies. And then I say to my guides that I only want to contact the highest and the purest form of energy. I think that's very important. And then you can ask the people who are diseased and around you to give you a sign, or maybe even make themselves visible if you can handle that. Things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, well, no, thank you for me. I don't want to see anybody. It's it's really weird because I do this work and people say you're afraid of dead people. I'm like, mm-hmm. But you talk to dead people, mm-hmm. But I don't want to see them. I don't want to party with them. I don't want them at the Thanksgiving table. You could just stay where they're at. And
Yeah,
I am
and they do
where
that. Yeah.
where I'm at. But so when you checked in and you went deeper in any situation and you saw something that was really evil, negative,
Yeah.
extreme low vibrational energy, tell us about that.
Well, this really scares me when I feel an energy that once I was on holiday with a friend in Italy, and we were in a haunted house,
Mhm,
and there was I felt that there was an energy there. It belonged to the house itself,
mhm.
and it didn't want us there. We were really not welcome, and that was demonic. And I'm so scared of these things because I know they exist. So we slept outside the second night. We didn't dare to sleep in the house. We
Oh
slept,
my,
yeah,
wow.
thank God it was summer. So I don't want to do anything with it. I don't want to connect with that energy. I just want to get away from it as soon as possible.
Okay, but that energy still exists. So how do you stop it from following you around? I do a lot of work with people with spirit release, with
Yeah,
people
good.
who have been are being controlled by, a foreign low vibrational
Yeah.
energy. So in your case, since you don't like it, which I can understand, how do you escape it?
By asking my guides, well, actually, I asked them in Italy over and over. And at that time, I could feel that it stayed in the house. It wasn't interested in me. So when we were outside, we were free, so to speak. When we got inside, we could sense that energy. So it
Mhm.
didn't. thank God it didn't follow us around. And I'm happy you do this kind of work. I would be, oh, it would scare the living daylights out of me. So well,
Mm.
I applaud you that you can do this, because I think a lot of people, you can really help them.
Yeah, it helps a lot of people if they're willing to, release, because on some level, well, we all attract positive and negative energy, right? Or what we consider
Hmm.
positive and negative energy just is whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
And some people, they really, for whatever reason, need to have the need to play with and indulge in, the lower level vibrations like Ouija boards and things like that. And when you
hmm,
do that, you have no idea who or what is on the other end.
yeah,
And you,
exactly.
yeah, you let that energy in, and it's like, oh my goodness, what's happening now? All of a sudden, all kinds of weird things start happening to them, and they don't realize, what the beginning of this
Yeah,
energy was and how they invited it in. And folks,
yeah,
the same thing can hold true for doing drugs, drinking alcohol, whatever. If you know how to
yeah.
protect yourself,
Hmm.
do it all the time. And I'm not saying don't do, because, I enjoy a martini or three.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
but
Why
but I
not?
have my protection crystals on. I
Yeah,
protect myself physically so that the unwanted energy is at a minimum, a
yeah,
very minimum. Now, you had worked with a gentleman who crossed over during the World Trade Center situation, and you
yeah.
developed quite a relationship with this person. Tell us about that.
Yeah, for me, it's normal that spirits visits me
Hmm.
before a reading starts. There can be weeks or months before the reading about that particular spirit begins, when someone visits me. So I thought that someone connected to him would come for a reading in the Netherlands. And he told me his first name, his nickname, and he started to give more information about his children, and um, things about how he died, and how he was doing in heaven right now, and lots more. So I wrote it all down because I was afraid that I might forget. So I
Hmm.
had it all figured out. I thought I have all his words written down. And when someone books a reading connected to him, comes to my office, I can give them all my notes.
Hmm.
But no one came. And then one day, he never told me where and when he died. So I didn't know.
Hmm.
I had no clue. And then one day he told me that he died during 9/11 in one of the Twin Towers. I was in utter shock. I started to cry immediately, and I had no idea. And he said, I want you to find my wife and tell her everything I told you. And then he was gone. And I didn't know what to do. And my first response was, no, I'm not going to reach out and find someone and give the weird information that I have contact with her deceased husband. I was afraid. I didn't dare to. So I finally did. And in the book, you can read about the journey of searching for her and how that came about. So it's one of my most lovely stories, because this man traveled all around the world to find psychics. And he did find someone else, and he gave that psychic the same information. I found
Hmm.
out later on
Hmm.
when I contacted his wife. So he loves his wife so much. And that gives me goosebumps every time that he just moves heaven and earth to get the messages across to his wife. Now, if that isn't true love, I don't know what is.
Well, not only true love, it also validates the fact that the spirit keeps going, the soul keeps
Yeah.
living, even though the
Yes.
physical um goes away. So how can one reconcile with that? You know, I love my husband to death. I truly do. And should he predecease me, I'm like, bye. Okay.
Yeah.
You go on to
Mhm.
wherever and we'll catch up with each other later. So how
Yeah.
did and for me it's truly a fear. Okay. I just don't do like dead people that well, even though I
Hmm.
do the work that I do. So how can someone in my situation who is aware, you know, intuitively, how can you manage that energy of either not wanting contact or having the uh, physical contact that you want to have, or the energetic contact that you want to have?
You mean when someone close to you is diseased? Or
Yes.
yeah. Well, the energy of someone is the same because you take your personality with you. So a lot of people tell me I feel like their partner who's diseased. I feel them around me.
Mhm.
It feels the same, and it's warm and it's loving. Um, so I'm not sure if that is what you mean, that the what kind of energy you feel, because it's exactly the same when we are alive. Our energy is our energy.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest sign that it feels yeah, the same and familiar and but more loving, more, because their awareness is complete. Once we die, our awareness is complete. So it feels warm and
Yeah.
safe. Yeah.
So what if the person was what we consider a bad person when they were alive? I mean, you know, they murdered, they raped, they pillaged, and then they crossed
Mhm.
over. Can
Yeah.
you decide you don't want to interact with that energy and just ignore it? How does that happen?
Well, when we die, you are shown like a movie your entire life, frame
Mhm.
by frame. What did you do? Did you hurt people? Did you make people happy? And so, let's say a murderer, he has to go through all these emotions that the person felt that he murdered, he or she murdered.
Mhm.
So that's pretty intense. And I don't believe in a hell. I do believe we can create our own hell here on earth,
Mhm.
and also after we died, when you don't want to feel and live through the emotions you gave other people.
Mhm. Okay, so if we refuse to accept our, I guess, reality, then what
Mhm.
happens to us? I mean, you know, we're hanging out at source. So what happens to us, to our soul? How do we grow? Or do we just stay stagnant until we're ready to open up and
Mhm.
receive?
Yeah, well, it differs per soul. So some people are really stubborn. They don't want to look at their life.
Mhm.
They and they get like, well, I don't want to call it stuck, but they have to do it all over again.
Mhm.
And there is always forgiveness. When we die, there's always forgiveness because there's also something called karma. So
Mhm.
that means what you do comes back to you. So often when karma is being balanced, then there is nothing to fear when you die, because it could have been karma being balanced, but that's really different for each soul. But if
Okay.
someone is stuck and they don't want to look at their life, what they did, and um, I cannot contact that soul. I
Mhm.
cannot make contact, no, because they're
Okay.
not open to loving feelings. They're not open to communicate because they're kind of, yeah, in a cocoon of stubbornness.
Mhm. Is it possible for someone to open the door for possession, not necessarily demonic possession, because other
Mhm.
energies can possess? Is
Yeah.
it uh, possible for someone to open that door for possession by going to a seance or by connecting with others who have crossed over? Like a person's missing them so much they automatically just want to come join them. Is that a possibility?
I feel that yes, it is, but then things have happened before that they were more open to inviting. the energy. It's not like you say, you like your martini, but no soul wants to possess you. So, but when you drink heavily year after year after year, or use drugs, then you can open the door. So if you attend a seance for one time only, and you're like drinking your martini every now and then, you're fine. Assuming that the person who is leading the whole seance is pure.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then you should walk away, because then the whole beginning, the whole basic of that seance isn't pure.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of purity, I was going to cover this a little bit later, but we can take a look at it now. How can we tell the difference between a real or a fake psychic or intuitive, whatever you want to call us?
Yeah, I always want to start the reading, and I when a psychic asks you a million questions, I think that's not a good sign, because we are connected to our spirit guides. So we get the information whether we ask questions or not. It just happens. So I think that's a clear sign. And when you hear common things like, oh, you think a lot. Well, everyone thinks a lot. Or sometimes you feel insecure and sometimes you're confident. Well, that goes for everyone. So if you hear, these vague things, the more things we cannot know, because I think everyone wants evidence. And if you can give evidence, that's beautiful, of course.
Yes, it is. It's beautiful and it brings a sense of peace. So I want to cover two topics with you. First is ghost, and the second, witches. In this time of October where the veil is thinning, people are saying, "Oh, I see ghosts all the time." I was actually scrolling through a Facebook page earlier, and there was a camera set up trying to catch the ghosts that were walking down the street. So we have a great fascination with ghosts in the other world. So talk to us about ghost in your experience. What is a ghost? How does it interact? Does it have to bother you? Can you get rid of it? Give us your general scoop on what a ghost is.
I always think immediately about Casper, the cartoon.
Oh, oh,
And because for me, a ghost is it's a spirit. And I don't personally, I don't have a negative ring to the word ghost. I never use it. I always use the word spirit or soul.
mhm.
So is that something that's more um, a used word in America, that it's a negative thing, a ghost? Because maybe some people mean like a poltergeist or something like that.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, because
Go ahead.
in the Dutch translation, when someone says "I see ghosts," it's translated into "I see spirits."
Mhm.
So we don't have a difference between a ghost or a spirit.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, because here we make a marked difference between ghost and spirits, and usually ghosts are like an apparition that you see, and
Yeah,
most people say they're innocent, some people say not, especially the poltergeist and what
yeah,
can bring on um,
yeah,
energy
exactly. Yeah.
like that. Hmm.
So you do have good ghosts and bad ghosts,
Yeah.
just like good spirits and bad spirits. Is that what you mean?
Well, can you? Because I mean, Casper was a friendly ghost.
Yeah, I always think about Gasper. Uh,
But hmm,
so yeah, no, there is black and white, a darkness and light, good and bad. It's definitely there.
okay.
But yeah.
Well, but what happens when you experience, I'm going to tell you, this is true story. Our house
Yeah.
had burned when I was 16 and we rented, someone else's home while the renovations were going on. And came home one day from school on my way down to my father's business. I just stopped home for a moment and all
Hmm.
my clothes that were hanging up in the closet when I left that morning were on the bed. And my dog is looking at me like, ooh, something happened here, Mom. And so I went and,
Wow.
I went to my father's business and I talked to him about it. And he goes, oh, the dog did it. Now, how's the dog going to get up and take the clothes off the head? Right. But
Yeah.
anyway, that pacified me for a moment. So it happened two more times for a total of three times. And then one day I was in my sister's bedroom and this house was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. It had floor to ceiling windows and it was in the woods, a creek flowing down behind it. And we used to see this man, and the house was on stilts. And we used to see this man just walk by the window. Caucasian man, gray hair, gray beard, red and
Like a
red black
spirit
plan.
walking by, or was he
Uh-huh.
still alive?
He was gone. It was the owner of the house, and he would walk by. He would look in, and again, the house is on stilts, so there's no way this man is like 20 feet tall. Okay,
No. Oh my
and he would go
gosh.
by, and he would just peer in the window and walk by and keep going. And then one night I was asleep and all of a sudden I started laughing hysterically in my sleep about the W of cats. I have no idea what the W of cats is or was, but it was hysterical. And my parents tried to wake me up. They couldn't wake me. It was just a whole thing. So in that instance, I feel there was a level of number one, ghost activity, and number two, possession.
Hmm.
And when I was 16, I was a goody goody girl. So I didn't do anything. I didn't even
Yeah.
drink. So
No.
it's like, well, how did, all of that happen? Because that was really quite frightening, you know?
Yeah.
To,
Okay. Well, my guide are they're joining this conversation, of course.
uh-huh,
What they're saying is that the women in your mother's line of the family, the bloodline, so
uh-huh,
your ancestors, they are very psychic, all of them. And um, because they wanted to get your attention.
uh-huh,
And when you're 16, I understand it's like terrifying. But maybe when you experience something like this again, you can say, okay, what do you want from me? Can I help you with something? Because
uh-huh,
they definitely wanted to attract your attention.
uh-huh,
And these women, they're standing around you, so you have nothing to be afraid of because they are protecting you. You have your own team of bodyguards around you. So I feel because you were born psychic and very gifted, and I feel someone was trying to make contact with you in a good
okay,
way, not in a
okay.
weird way.
All right, it might have been my biological mother who crossed over when I was 5. So let's switch gears a moment.
Uh,
Let's talk about the W word, witches. I mean, this time of year you see caricatures of women in a black pointy hat and a long crooked nose and a big wart on their face and dressed in black. And
yeah.
I don't know any witch, and I know many. I don't know any witch who looks like that. So talk to us
Yeah.
about your experience with what a witch is, what a witch is not, and how can we, if we choose to, utilize witchy energy? Because I feel it comes in handy a lot.
Yeah, which is our feminine power.
Uh-huh.
And that power we have is unbelievable. So for me, a witch is someone who really uses their feminine power.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, you have the group of witches who come together in a circle when there's a full moon or a new moon.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful. Um, but I love to see when women start to embed in their own power and feel like Mother Earth flowing through them. Um, and I think that's also something that men were afraid of, and that's why they made us on a broomstick with a wart on our nose because they were afraid of our power.
Uh-huh.
But we never use it against men. we use it to give birth to our children and take care of everyone. That's what we did, and to heal. So for me, I think every woman is a witch in
I
a good
agree with
way.
that, because I mean, you think about any mother, no matter where the mother is who's taking care of her child, there's
Yeah,
always a point in time where they're taking care of the child. They don't have exactly what they need to take care of that child, but somehow they make it happen,
yeah,
whether it's, coming up with something to help the child who's having some type of illness or, no matter what it is, we tap into, I say, our past lives, and we
yeah.
come up with a solution.
Yeah, and here in Europe in the Middle Age, the medieval times, um, when a woman could heal with her hands or with herbs, people got scared. So
Mhm.
they put a rock around her neck, a big rock, and when she would thrown in the water, and
Mhm.
when she would come up, um, she wasn't a witch. You can never come to the surface with a big rock around your neck. So,
Mhm.
and of course, a lot of women were burned. So, this feminine power we have is incredible. And like you said, every woman has that power in her, whether she has children or not, because she must have had children in one or more previous lifetimes. So she
Mhm.
knows how it feels.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always wonderful to be able to tap into that energy. So,
Yes.
as I discussed with you before we came on air, my youngest son's partner committed suicide back in April, and to be honest with you, I still struggle with this. And to be frank with you, he was not one of my favorite people. Um, when one commits suicide, it's my belief that, they go on to wherever they need to go for their life review, and that's that movie that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Um, but what happens to the soul? My son said that his partner would come through with the lights. He would flick the lights, and he would say, is that you? And if it's you, flick twice. If it's one, not you, flick
Hmm.
once or don't flick. And he could establish that it was his partner who was communicating with him. So
Wow,
what happens to
beautiful.
us when we, decide to end our own lives? I don't even really
Yeah,
like the word suicide, because sometimes the soul is just so tormented, it needs
yeah,
to just move on, fresh start, so to speak.
yeah, exactly. And I don't think people want to end their life. They want to end their suffering. And
Hmm.
our soul has to experience different ways of dying.
Mm-hmm.
How it's like to drown or uh, horrible, or what it's like to be murdered, or what it's like to die in peacefully in our sleep, but also what it's like to take our own life. How does it feel? So it's all about the learning process of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And Mitchell is saying that your son Julius is very creative. He's very gifted. So Mitchell is going to help him with Julius's creativity and
Mm-hmm.
bring it more to the fore, because they are soulmates. They've known each other from previous lifetimes. And Mitchell, he's what he's saying right now is that he dropped a couple of before he made that decision to take his own life. He he gave like signs, and he felt like everyone was better off without him. And that's not true. But if you really believe that, it only makes it worse. And how you feel. So Mitchell is he comes in dreams a lot, and he's showing a beautiful, I think it's leather, like a leather jacket, black.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. And maybe your son has this jacket, I don't know, but he's very proud of this jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a lot with his mom. He's taking care of his mom. Yeah, very connected to his mother as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Well,
that's what, sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I said I wanted to say this is what Mitchell wanted to share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, when we go to your website, barbarathemedium.com, what are we going to find there?
a lot. uh,
Okay, a little bit more.
yeah, I give a lot of, I have a lot of free things on my website, free ebooks and free healing. And I just put on a new course. I give a mediumship course where I guide people personally to become, if they want to become a psychic medium themselves, with personal
Mhm.
guidance. And well, a lot of background stories about spirit guides and things like that. And I try to add whenever I feel inspired, like, oh, I want to share this with people, like stories about readings that I had. And when it's very interesting, I put it on my blog. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Do you have a reading today that still disturbs you in some way?
yes.
Can you
Yes.
share or no?
Well, I once had a reading with a psychopath, and it was something I had to learn. I don't like some life lessons, but well, here we are. We're all living and
Hmm.
learning. And that was really horrible because he abused his stepdaughter, and he was trying to um, find out if I could feel that. He was really challenging me, and he was a horrible human being.
Hmm.
And stories like when people have lost their child, sometimes years later, I think about these parents, and I hope they're well. It's very emotional, the work we do.
Hmm. And it can stay with us for a very, very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see my throat chakra is like blocking right now.
Hmm.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still is emotional, but I think if you don't love people, you cannot do this work because like you really want to help. It's in your blood. And
Hmm.
as am I. So you have to deal with the enormous emotions that come with it.
Yeah, and if you don't deal with them, folks, trust me, not wonderful things happen because you throw your energy off balance, and once your energy is off balance, that opens the door for disease and many other things to come
Yeah,
in. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Barbara, I've really enjoyed your time today. Our time is up, but could you give me a pearl of wisdom to share with the audience, please?
A pearl of wisdom.
Mhm.
Um, well, something that helped me enormously is to always check what you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're writing. If it's negative, don't say it, don't write it, and don't think it unless you have to in a conflict or something. But like,
Mhm.
try to get rid of all the negative thoughts. And even like, oh, it's raining today, oh, or I have a bad hair day. That's negative too.
Mhm.
So I think that will be a boost for your entire life, your health, your relationships, your money, your everything when you practice being more positive.
Mhm. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And Barbara, I appreciate you. Folks, we've been speaking with Barbara Bandel. Her book, My Most Memorable Psychic Readings and Personal Stories, plus exercises and meditations to expand and deepen your awareness. Her website, barbarathemedium.com. Do check her out. She's offering all types of readings. And as you can tell, she's grounded and she knows her stuff, so she can be trusted. She's a real intuitive, folks. And Barbara, thank you so much for being with me today. I greatly appreciate it. And I know the audience does too.
Well, thank you. We were in a lovely bubble, a lovely energy bubble, the two of us, and I loved it. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, you're welcome. And everyone, please remember the most important choice that you can make is what you choose to make important. Consider making the masterful choice of expanding and deepening your awareness. Abundance of blessings, light, and love to all. Agape.